So there's been a lot of discussion about the Biden nomination. If he's going to be supported, what is it that is going to draw people to support him? And is whatever that variable is a good thing? Well, now we've got a little bit of data, although I'm going to make you wait for just a second. So I'm going to show you Donald Trump's numbers for this, and then we'll go to Biden. So the question is, what is it that leads you, the number one thing that leads you to support this candidate rather than the other in the presidential election? For Donald Trump, the number one answer with 23% of polls, or those polled, says leadership and performance. 23% of the country, or at least those respondents, are out of their mind. 160 plus thousand people.
I like that. No. That's not what they mean by performance, not job performance. They like that it's all performance. It's just one big stupid performance.
That's a good point. 21 is his issue/policy positions. I would say they like him more for his issues rather than his issue. They like all of his personality issues. He is not Biden is 19%. That's true. 17%. He's for the American people and values. Which ones? Who cares? 16% are just doing it for purely partisan reasons. That's a pretty low number, actually. 11%, he tells it like it is, his personality. Oh, you do not want to be in an elevator with a his personality voter. And 12% is other. I guess QAnon? I don't know. Something like that. 13% wouldn't say. Just answer the question, America. Jesus. But anyway, before we move on to Biden, anything from that, Brett?
It adds up to more than 100, so it's just like, hey, what are your thoughts on anything? Do any of these look tasty? Mm-hmm. Load up your plate. I like that he is not Biden. Like the psychology of someone filling out a poll when that person is a Trump supporter is hilarious. Like you're kind of shocked. They must limit the number of things you can say, because I would say that probably if you're a Trump supporter, you're like, yeah, everything. All of the above.
Well, I believe for this you were allowed to pick one thing. I don't remember. I don't know exactly why. It could be rounding, maybe. I don't know. I mean, it's obviously more than 100. The way that it's worded in the larger graphic that I have is the main reason. I don't know.
Main reason.
Maybe they allowed.
Gotcha.
But anyway,
they're just bad at following directions.
Maybe that could be true. Now here's the thing. So let's show them the Donald Trump again for just a second, so you can get a feel for the distribution of answers, where that he is not Biden is. And now let's move to the Biden one. Coming in at number one with 56% of the vote, he is not Trump, which is also Biden's favorite thing about Biden, oddly enough. But anyway, and then you have basically very similar numbers of what's left at similar distributions as Trump, once you account for the fact that the majority answer is he is not Trump. So this is, I think, what we've suspected. It could be that that's to some extent a self-fulfilling prophecy, but regardless, is that a bad thing?
Well, what it tells me is there's something about Biden. It is that he's not Trump, but there's something about him. And with Donald Trump, there's really nothing about him. They're all kind of the same. You know, that's one way to look at this that I don't think other people are looking at it. Like, but the obvious thing to look at it as is most presidencies are a referendum on the incumbent in a real election. New. Period. Yeah. And frequently it comes down to what you like about the new option or what you don't like about the previous option. But like, this makes sense to me because of who Trump is and how he runs the country. There's so much about him that people just need to stop. Yeah. It's just like, I can't anymore. This is ridiculous. Like, look around the nation. They're doing things right now to like seize ballot boxes, because the new ballot box is not at your church. It's not at the local elementary school. The new ballot box is a mailbox, and they're just picking them up off the street. Like, this is psychotic. This should not happen in America, but it continues to happen in America. And I need it to stop. And in order for it to stop, I need someone who's not the current president.
Yeah, that's true. I don't know if this exact same comparison has been done in past elections. I would assume that the challenger, he is not blank, is probably fairly large. As you said, these are referendums. Now, look, in an ideal world, as we've been saying for a long time, anyone who supported, for instance, say Bernie Sanders in the primary would hope that Bernie was the candidate and his issue/policy positions, or he is for American people and values, because for a lot of people, the way ideology works, those are going to sort of fill the same box, would be the huge percentage that It's I'm picking this person for what they will do. That would be ideal. But looking at this, is it bad for Biden that a lot of people like that he's not Trump? Not necessarily. I mean, he's still winning in the polls. And I would say, I know that a lot of people will respond with, I've heard a lot over the last 4 years, don't vote based out of fear, or don't vote against something, vote for something. And I would have to say that with all due respect, I don't really think that either of those things actually means anything. I don't think that that's how voting works. When you choose between two things, you're doing a comparison. Some people might only think about one or two things when they do that comparison. Some people, if politics is their life, they might think about 20 or 30 or 40. But at the end of the day, it is a comparison between two things, and you choose one out of those. And by doing that, you're voting for something and against something. And the thing is, I know that it can feel good to present someone else's voting behavior as being this emotional reaction, that it's just fear. But I would say that for many of these people who would vote against Trump, no matter who the candidate was, first of all, they're allowed to be afraid. His policies are devastating. But really, that's sort of just a convenient out to say that they're just having an emotional reaction. What if they've been watching for 4 years and they oppose his policies? Can't they vote against that and not have it denigrated as an emotional thing? And I know if we're going to have this thing out there, too, that's, don't voter shame, that is a form of voter shaming to say you shouldn't vote based on fear.
It's such an insane. I mean, I'm sorry to call everybody out, but it's
I would say with all due respect, but yeah,
I'd say with all due respect, it's such an insane privileged position to be like, but how do I feel about this? Right now we're saving America from the end of America. And that should be the priority. And that should be the unifier. And we've done that in the past. America has come together in the past to avert existential crises. It is such a privileged position to then do the postmodern meta, looking back on who I am when I cast my vote. How do I view myself? Cool feeling if you can swing it. If you're insulated enough from the very real consequences that are befalling America, cool for you, but get over it. And that's not a nice way to put it. And I'm being an analyst and not a cheerleader right now. It is an insane privileged position to be in, I think, in my opinion.
Well, I'm very much,
I always take positions like this and someone says one very real thing and I go, oh my God, I'm such a beehole, but I don't see it right now.
Yeah. I mean, look, people vote for a lot of different reasons, and I think that we can try to understand it, or we can just sort of pitch it as something that's less awesome and intellectual and pure than the way we think about things. People are responding to their lives. That's what they're doing. Yeah. And this is the nominee we have.
Yeah.
Check out the Damage Report podcast each day, wherever you get your podcasts, whether Pocket Casts or Stitcher or iTunes. You can join me as I give you the news and stories you want, with a range of co-hosts and interview guests jumping in on the fun each day. Again, that's the Damage Report, wherever you get your podcasts. And if you get them at iTunes, don't forget to rate and review. Sometimes I'll read them live on the show.